Hello, everyone. Oh my God, my hair is absolutely filthy. Look at this mop top. Ah! Can people hear me okay? Or am I getting my same old damn volume issues as per usual? Or do I finally have it figured out this time? Mic check. What do people think? Spacing out here. Waiting for replies. Well, we're just going to assume we're okay then until, okay. Hello, everyone. My name is Nick Marinelli, and I am the Executive Director of MAGFest, Inc. This is our monthly Fireside chat, where I look at live video of myself, and it's really disconcerting, so I'm going to change that window. Monthly stream, where I talk about what events have passed over the past month, what events we have coming up in the next month, and general kind of organizational going-ons and improvements in the works. First off, it's been a couple months since I've talked to you all. Well, at least with the stream, the board of directors took last month, but since the last Fireside for me, we had AwesomeCon happen, and the promo team, as well as the arcade and consoles, hit that in full force. And the game room at AwesomeCon was amazing as usual, thanks to the MAGFest crew. Huge arcade and console setup. Oh, and the MIBS team as well. Cannot forget the MIBS team. A whole indie showcase set up, and a lot of people asking where the Smash Brothers tournaments were. Good job to all of the MIBS and arcade and console people for doing that. We're a big hit at AwesomeCon, and the attendees there love having us, and the AwesomeCon people love having us. There's also Techo out in Pittsburgh. It wasn't a big hullabaloo, but we had a promo table, and Freya and Scribbles, and I think Kevin Lynn and Dak went out there for that one. Thanks to them for doing that. And we also had the PAX East Jam Space. This is probably God, has it been 10 years that we've been doing the PAX East Jam Space? Almost, maybe 9. And we were doing the West one for a while, but, well, for a couple of years. But the PAX East Jam Space is amazing. It's changed from just an open mic all weekend to a whole curated collection of content. It's basically like a second stage at PAX, frankly. Rob Carballo of Geek Radio and Chip Space fame was the lead coordinator on that, and he did a great job of not getting my fucking college to call me and ask for donations. He doesn't do that. He books bands and schedules staff and organizes things, and he did an awesome job. Mediatron and crew was up there streaming the whole thing. Thank you to them and the whole rest of the East Jam Space crew. Thank you all so much. You all kill it. We've been talking to the PAX folks about PAX West, because several Mag West staffers have expressed interest in running a Jam Space out that way. And things look good, really good. PAX really likes having us. And so if the space works out, but we'll see. Keep fingers crossed. What is that? That's on the East Coast. That happened. What else is happening? Coming up on the East Coast, there's Escape Velocity. I don't know if we have a table planned for that. Escape Velocity is, I believe, at the Marriott Wardman Park next weekend. But if you head over to the promo channel in Slack, or hit up promo@magfest.org if you want to help out at that promo table, if we have it. You can check in on our plans. The promo people promo team back in the promo team will gladly see if you want to help out. Over on the West Coast, BabsCon happened. I think BabsCon is a Brony event, I think, or a furry. No, Bay Area Brony Summit, Brony event. We had a promo table out there that was pretty popular. Deborah was out there for that. And I think who else? I think Jess McCormick, one of the MAGFest chairs, was at the table, and I forget who else was at that table. But sound off in stream chat if you were there. Thank you all for helping Promo West out there. And speaking of Promo for West, West's registration launched a few weeks ago, and man, it's going well. We've sold like 150 tickets so far, which is a huge record compared to the past 2 years. It's crazy. I'm really excited for this. This is going really well, and the whole West team is kicking ass with it. And, you know, not just on a red front, but I've been seeing the emails and the Slack messages go by, and planning is chugging along. It's gonna be a really good event. It's time we did MAGFest launch. I think next weekend out west there is that next weekend Fanime? That is next weekend. That's right around the corner. Dak is going to be flying out there to help train people for promo. We have a promo booth table at Fanime, I believe, and Dak will be out there working the promo table and also doing some ground pounding flyers out at different establishments and clubs and whatnot. And he'll be looking for people to join in with him and learn how they can help spread the gospel as well. Promo is one of those things where, like in Mag world, it's you're not just selling tickets. Like you're pulling in cool people. So when I say that, like, promo is everyone's responsibility, and that's not like an Uncle Sam kind of we need you kind of thing. It's more like just the event isn't as good if you view promo as something that, like, the marketing that people do. The event is built by the people that attended it. They're what makes it good. So if you're reaching out to the people that you think are cool, that you think would be a cool part of MAGWest, and, it's not just people you think are nerds as well. Oh, I'm kidding. We're all nerds. That personal connection of pulling in people, getting friends together. That's what makes the event special. And that connection of you like MAGFest for some specific reason that's different from the reason that somebody else has, but you know other people that share that specific reason that you do. So it's that much better when you pull them in. That's so for the East Coast and West Coast promo and current events and what's not. That's what's been going on there. Other than that, we had Magcon, Spring Magcon, last weekend. That was last weekend, right? 3 weeks been such a blur. If you don't know what Magcon is, it's a convention to plan MAGFest. MAGFest is not a convention; it's a festival. Spring Mag. While we usually have MagCons a couple months before each MAGFest event, we have Super MagCon in November, MagStockCon in whatever month or two before MagStock. Likewise with WestCon. With WestCon, by the way, I believe is coming up June 22nd. That's a little bit farther ahead in the calendar than I normally announce, but whatever, I was talking about it. Spring MagCon is an event where we talk about the organization, the nonprofit, the community of MAGFest, and not necessarily any specific event, because it's such a behemoth now that there's corporate things to talk about. Well, yeah, there's so many. There's enough content to talk about how the org runs without actually referring to anything specific to an event. It's insane. A bunch of people showed. It was really cool to see everyone. You should make a point to check out the slides and all the presentations. I'm going to go briefly over them. Where the hell did that link go? I'm going to paste the link in the Slack as well as the YouTube. I made a little tiny URL out of it. What the error? Try again. They don't let me put in the... Ah, you sons of bitches. All right, hold on a second. Maybe they don't like tiny URL. Maybe they think it's a... There we go. Oh, and I forgot one of the most important things. My usual introduction of I do Q&A once I'm done talking about all the bullshit I talk about, and you can put your questions in here, and they can be anonymous, and they can be hard-hitting, and they should be hard-hitting, because I shouldn't be afraid to answer questions. You may not like the answer I give, but I shouldn't be afraid to answer the question. Calendly links in with my Google Calendar, so you can book a time with me at any time during business hours usually, and we can talk about whatever you want. It's surprising how few people use that Calendly. I probably get maybe one person every other month at most that books a time, unsolicited anyway. Even solicited, people don't use it that much. So going back, we were talking about Magcon. A lot of people were at Magcon, but many people weren't. So I want to go over the topics that we talked about there, just to kind of give people an idea of kind of the major stuff. And repetition doesn't spoil the prayer. A thing I of course need to talk about, the elephant in the room that we talked about at MagCon, was that some former employees wrote letters with complaints about me, and there's a lot of talk on Slack and email lists about me as the executive director. And I apologize if I'm repeating myself from what I said in MagCon, but sort of make sure that people, again, repetition, prayer. And this shit's being taken seriously from top to bottom, from the board, employees, HR leaders. If people had posted in Slack letters complaining about literally anybody else in MAGFest, or anybody besides me or the board, any employee, any other volunteer or contractor or anything, I would have deleted all those posts and banned that person from Slack right away, at least temporarily, because that's not, like, we have escalation paths and we have a Slack code of conduct that says we're supposed to handle things civilly in Slack, not go on witch hunts, talk to supervisors, escalate to get something done. But since the complaints were against me, that kind of renders the escalation path seemingly useless, because I forced the escalation path. How can you really trust that? Which is why I don't agree with the manner that was put out, but it's fair. Anyway, the board has been doing this assessment evaluation with our HR consultant about what people was reported, and as far as I know, that's that process. God, the HR consultant talked to the board, and the board's supposed to be working with, I guess, the advisory committee or something, and I am waiting for something to happen there. All I know is that the details were nothing surprising and pretty mundane and procedural when it comes to recommendations of what to do next. But it's on the board to talk about, not me. Considering the things said, a lot of people want me to refute everything point by point and say, well, what if they said this? What if they said that? What if they said about that? And I could say a lot of things about that. I spent about a week writing a response that got up to about 9 pages in length, with me going into great detail about some of the things said, and how the perspective given does not paint a whole picture. And then the more I wrote, the more I hated it. The more I didn't want to. I'm not going to drag someone else through the streets, put someone else's dirty laundry out to air, throw someone else under the bus, and talk about things they've done in order to save my ass and justify decisions I've made. When I have to let someone go, that's my job. I have to do it. I consult as many people as necessary. And when it happens, usually the person doesn't like it. I know I'm not perfect, so I'm not going to say I'm totally without fault. I talked about it at Magcon, the desk. That's probably a story you've heard at least once, if not multiple times. But three years ago, I beat the shit out of some office furniture because I was really frustrated about something, and it doesn't matter what I was frustrated about, it's because that's never okay to do ever, let alone in a fucking office. And because of that, everyone around me were very supportive in pushing me to get therapy. And I believe it's right around the 3rd anniversary of me starting therapy and medication, and I'm a different person because of it. I feel I've improved. You can make that judgment for yourself. But next time you hear something about me and a desk, I ask that you look at that as an obstacle that I had to get past to become a better person, a better leader, and not who I am today. But still, even the casual observer could see drama in the office ever since the office became a thing. So clearly there's some kind of problem. And if you look through the slot, watching my presentation from Magcon may be a better. Hearing me read it might be better, but you can read through it too. But basically, what we learned is that an HR person is necessary. Never start a business without having an HR person. There is so many things that you would never think of and never realize that you would never think of. Good old Donald Rumsfeld unknown unknowns. Yeah, we found out a lot. And like a year ago, we had tried to hire an HR consultant to help us with stuff, and they were fucking awful. Just so by the book, not helpful advice. And we fired our HR person, and we got a new one on advice recommendation from Bunny Smith, consul's head and general counsel for MAGFest, because she's now Bunny Smith Esquire. Tracy Bazad, she is our contracted HR representative consultant, and she's been taking over everything from benefits to payroll to handbooks and recruiting. Probably she's recommended getting another local hand that's less expensive than her to help for some more time-consuming stuff. But she's been great so far. I'm trying to think. It's probably just boring details at this point about how Tracy, what kind of work she's been doing in terms of beefing up the HR infrastructure. But if you're curious, please ask in that and I'll answer it later. And in preparation for that, I'm gonna I'll pull that up later and I'll answer those later. Let me skim through my Magcon notes to see if I talked about me wanting to add a core value of called kintsugi, which is this idea that MAGFest has seemingly fallen apart many times. That's what it does every year. Every MAGFest is just practice for the next one. When something breaks, you put it back together, and you don't use super glue. Use gold. Make sure you see those mistakes. Those mistakes are part of that thing's past. They're what defined it. They're what makes it interesting, because it's now stronger because of them. As long as you make an earnest attempt to grow, when you make a mistake, then there's really no such thing as a mistake or a misstep. It's just going to take you a little bit longer to get to the goal that you wanted, because you had to learn what not to do in order to learn what to do. Let me go back and scan through the rest of. There are some really good presentations at Magcon. Vicki Earle, our software engineer, and Bunny Smith, Esquire, talked about Gdpr Ccpa. Those are data privacy regulations that are applicable originally in Europe and now starting all over the world. There's going to be Uber Reggie is going to need upgrades when it comes to data access control, and it's going to affect everybody, all users, because all users to Reggie have more or less unfettered access to a bunch of personal identifying information, and that can't be the case. So as we shore up our adherence, compliance to these data privacy laws, that will affect people in a way that could change workflow. So make sure to check out those slides again on the Notion page that I linked, which is our volunteer portal. Check out those slides to see who to contact Vicki and Bunny to talk about your use cases for Reggie and what needs to be considered. Bunny then went to talk on about the actual legal stuff about the structure of nonprofits and boards, and how it's actually pretty boring. That's why they're called a board. And basically, the MAG board has been trying to aggressively shut off and delegate any operational things, which is what they should be doing. That's not a board's job. A board's job is to vote on budgets and maybe talk about the highest level vision and direction. Speaking of boards, the board did a presentation. I forget what kind of topics they talked about, but they talked about the advisory. Oh, sorry, not the advisory. The subcommittees, the task forces. There's the advisory task force, which they kind of help give advice on just general cultural topics that come up, really. Used to be the board, everything was on the board, and if you wanted to know what the board was thinking, you have to be invited as a guest to a board meeting, or you have to wait for the meeting notes. The board's been really trying to open up to get as much input from external sources as possible. So the task forces are a way to do that. So advisory task force has been helpful for those kinds of cultural, mushy-feely stuff. The finance task force has been helpful in being the calculator nerds and keeping an eye on wise budget planning, not for like an event, but org-wide and on a multi-year scale. Then there's also speaking multi-year scale, the future task force, which is trying to keep their eyes down the road in potential options, opportunities for growth of the organization. And you know me, Mr. Operational. I'm always focused on efficiency. Sometimes I can lose sight of trying to make sure that we're not laying the tracks ahead of the train. I love spreadsheets. What do you want from me? Those three task forces, they went up and had their presentations. The BOD presentation incorporated a very important point that has been haunting me for the past year, plus year and a half. There was a complaint against a board member last January 2018, and in an attempt to be as proper as possible, who watches the watchers? The board created a committee to evaluate the complaint and then deliver a recommendation back to the board on what action should be taken. But since a group of people handpicked by the board, that could be what's the word? Not nepotism, but you know, something like that, and also it could be tension between the people selected and the board if the recommendation isn't something they like. So in the most bureaucratic thing possible, the board selected a committee to select a committee, and that second committee deep was a necessarily anonymous group of people. I still don't know who they are, but Bunny, elected director, Big Adam Chase, and Mark Murnan, who's a permanent open guest to the board meetings. They chose that committee, and that took them a few months to get the second deep committee selected, and once they did, they just never heard anything, and the board didn't follow up. They didn't press on it. Meanwhile, people were blasting my ass for, hey, why isn't the board handling it? And I'm like, I've got no fucking idea. I have no control over that, and it's pissing me off too. But the board copped up to it. Copped up to letting that go on as long as it did. And I don't know when they took a vote on what to do about it last board meeting. I don't know when those board notes are coming out. Bunny could answer that question. But I'm glad they finally talked about that, because that's been pissing me off tonight. Beyond that, Mark Brannan talked about emergency preparedness at Magcon, which was nice, especially when the pavilion on stock sets on fire. But when, in general, we're trying to shore up our emergency preparedness procedures. But please do check out the Magcon slides and presentations. It's a few hours worth, but and I almost forgot. Matt Beal, our warehouse manager, our Lord of Logistics, warden of the warehouse, went over some of our plans for an inventory system and security measures in the warehouse. Just, to make sure like there's an alarm on the place, and to make sure that people aren't just taking stuff willy-nilly, and that things are tracked for not just the like for death. No, the main purpose for just be able to find anything, because like what the hell are you gonna do? Just dig through every box you can in the warehouse until you find it. Barcodes, easy office. It's gonna be exciting. So that was Magcon. Please read through those slides. Big thing I'm working on right now with the HR person is hiring. We got a bunch of we've already hired a bunch of part-timers and consultants. We have a new bookkeeper, Emily Hickman. You may know her as being a member of the SuperMag Ops Div Head team, but she also apparently is getting her master's in forensic accounting, so that's serendipitous. So she is now our part-time bookkeeper, working alongside our new accountant, David McGinley. He does the I believe he does Smashcon's books. He's based out of Frederick, Maryland, and he's got experience with nonprofits. Boy, howdy does he! Very helpful. He's just asking me questions that I did not know the answer to. Questions that I would never know to ask myself. More Rumsfeld-isms. But yeah, it's great things to look out for. Already things are moving on that. Emily is kicking ass, plowing through old transactions, making sure everything lines up. We've moved from zero, our old and busted accounting software, to QuickBooks Online, baby. We made it. We finally made it. I say that, but I have no idea what it looks like. Emily and David just tell me how much better it is, and whatever, they're better. They're more about finance than me, so I trust them. We've also got our HR consultant, Tracy Bazad, who's been working miracles, and our general counsel, Bunny Smith, Esquire. We are trying as fast as possible to get a new volunteer manager, which we are changing the job description, job title, to the Director of Volunteer Infrastructure to better express the scope of what they're doing. That they're, while they will, of course, inevitably end up in the weeds working with things while things get built up, their ultimate goal is to build up all of the structure to get volunteering at MAGFest to be a smooth, enjoyable experience. So, training and checklists and availability of information and all that. Trying to get a part-time security coordinator going, because handling security reports has always been a weak point of us, especially between events, like harassment reports and such come in, because that's a lot of fucking emotional labor to get one of those and have to evaluate that and make a call on that. And it's just really shitty that it falls by the wayside. So getting a security person is going to be fantastic. We also need a full-time project manager, because Deborah can't be the project anymore, because Deborah is going to be the events director. Deborah is moving positions to basically overseeing all the major MAGFest events: Super, Stock, West, the Labs team, BitGen. Basically, where I used to basically be the person directly overseeing that, Deb's taken over for me in that, so that I can focus more on the on the pipes of the corporate side of things, making sure that the ink is, the INC, not INK, is running properly, and also that we're moving forward in business development and growth and all of that. The DVI, the Director Volunteer Infrastructure, Project Manager, the security, we're supposed to put out an announcement on the next general major blast newsletter, but those are open for application right now using our awesome new HR software. And let me put the link in the stream chat here. It's great. no more sorting through emails and making spreadsheets to keep track of anything. It's actually software that does this for you. I love it. Okay, that's about all I had to say there. Magstock is coming up in 3 weeks. Magstock, my favorite MAGFest event, down at Small Country Campgrounds in Louisa, Virginia. It's camping and music, and that's it. Just nothing else. Well, there's electricity, and running water, so you can have projectors and video games at your campsite. So it's not really camping. It's playing games outside, which I can get down with that. All right, so I'm going to start. Go through the Q&A. If I can pull that up. There's a chat question. If you're asking questions in the stream chat, I cannot see it. I have a lot of other stuff up right now, so I ask that you please use the form and not the stream chat to ask questions. Only one question so far, which I will answer, but please keep asking. David P. asks, what kind of positions and promotions are opening up out west with MAGWest growing every year? I was on the East Coast for several years as staff for Super, but recently moved westward and want to continue my support and patronage outside of just MAGWest. Oh, thank you, David. What positions and promotions are opening up out west with MAGWest growing every year? Patronage outside of just MAGWest. If you mean outside of like the 4 days of the event, but still perhaps applicable to the event, like I was saying earlier, promo is always welcome. MAGWest is growing, but it's still got a ways to go. We learned a little while ago that running the MAGFest the way we used to run MAGFest, you could make it break even, but it wasn't a good idea because you'd fucking wreck everybody involved with it. So there is a minimum cost for MAG events that makes it mentally and physically sustainable for the people working it, so that they don't have to put in endless hours over every night of the year and buy everything at thrift stores in order to make the event work. But it is growing. The losses become less each year, and Jesus Christ, I'm so fucking impressed with how well the sales are doing right now. Beyond that, positions and promotions opening up with West, with MAGWest growing. The PAX West jam space, if that goes through, probably need a hand there. I think game over events are a cool thing to do that really anyone can do. The idea is that if you just throw a video game music concert locally, you can just put MAGFest's name on it. We'll promote it with you, and if ticket sales don't go well, we'll cover the difference in the bills. That way you don't have to put your own social security number on the line if you want to see more video game music concerts happen. We got to pre-approve your budget first, just to make sure you're not throwing a huge shindig. But yeah, that's something we can do. Other than that, David, ask the MAGWest chair team. That's Ben Tristan, Scott Montgomery, Jess McCormick, and Dak from the office, and Deborah from the office. I think you can, is it admin at magwest.org, or let's check that. Chairs at magwest.org, or you can go in the MAGWest channel in Slack, which is it called MAGWest, or is it called Mag? Yeah, it is called MAGWest. I can, if you got more specific question though that you want me to answer and not them, drop it in the form, and I can answer that. So next question. There's only one more question. People gotta ask more. Emily asks, how many cats can we budget in for fiscal year 20? The best part of that question is that she's asking about fiscal year 20 because last year was fiscal year 18 and next year is fiscal year 20 because we're skipping over fiscal year 19 because we discovered that we were naming our fiscal years wrong. There's no danger with it. It's not a thing that the IRS cares about. Just traditionally speaking, you're supposed to name the fiscal year for the year it ends, not the year that it's the majority of. Cats, so many, but there's really only one cat that really matters, and that's Miss Sunny Goods. Where is she? Is she being good somewhere? Here, we'll do this. Yes. Huh? Oh, look, that's so good. Look how good that is. That's a very nice kitty, the nicest of kitties. I'm gonna skim through the, with Emily in charge of the books, kind of, she can just insert cat line items and I would never know. This is dangerous. I made a huge mistake. I'm going to read through the stream chat to see if there are any questions I missed, and while I'm doing that, pop in any more questions that you have in the form. What are my thoughts on Hem's hot takes regarding Game of Thrones? I haven't seen Hem's hot takes regarding Game of Thrones, but my hot take is, all right, doesn't seem really any different than others. How many lint rollers can we budget? Depends if you get them on from Dollar General or not. What else we got? Okay. Bunny Smith Esquire asks, do department heads and other teams know how to reach out to Bunny regarding privacy concerns? I don't know, do they? But the answer, if they don't, is you can either Slack Bunny at radrac, R-A-D-R-A-C, or email legal@magfest.org. You got that? Legal. How hard is that? It's easy. I've said that here, but that really should be repeated many times. So we're gonna have to talk to Josiah, to Bunny, to make sure that gets worked into the next newsletter. Newsletter just went out just earlier today, but it deserves a whole lot of repetition, because boy howdy is it gonna matter. I am making a little chat room for us to dick around in, and I will drop that in stream chat. All right. Pleasure talking with y'all. I'll see you in the stream chat. Bye-bye.